Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. Discipline is not something that magically appears when you wake up one morning. It's not a gift. It's not a feeling. It's a decision you make, moment by moment, especially when you don't feel like it. Discipline starts with action, not with inspiration. Too many of us wait until we feel ready to go to the gym, start the business, or work on our dreams. But here's the truth, you will never feel ready. The secret is to act before your mind talks you out of it. The moment you think, I should do this, you have a 5-second window before excuses creep in. Use it. Move. Do something, even if it's small. Here's the second key. Stop thinking of discipline as a huge, heavy burden. Think of it as a muscle. Every small choice you make strengthens it. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Write just 1 paragraph today. Drink 1 glass of water before your coffee. These tiny actions seem insignificant, but they rewire your brain to trust you, to expect action instead of procrastination. And let's be clear, forcing yourself to be disciplined doesn't mean being harsh with yourself. It means showing up for your future self. It means doing the hard thing now so life gets easier later. So the next time you catch yourself hesitating, remember this: discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Act first, feelings will follow, and soon you won't be forcing yourself anymore, you'll be leading yourself. Thank you. Most people have the wrong idea about discipline. They think it's something you either have or you don't, like some rare personality trait only a few lucky people are born with. But the truth is far more powerful. Discipline is not a feeling, it's a choice. It's not about waiting until you feel ready, inspired, or motivated. It's about acting in spite of how you feel. This is one of the most liberating truths you can learn about yourself, because it means you don't have to wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, or the perfect plan to take action. You simply have to decide. Think about how often we let feelings dictate our action. You wake up in the morning and say, I don't feel like going to the gym. You tell yourself, I don't feel like writing today. Or maybe, I don't feel like studying. And so you don't go, you don't write, you don't study. You wait, hoping that motivation will magically appear and carry you forward. But here's the problem. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. If you let your life be guided by motivation, you will stay stuck. The most disciplined people you know are not more motivated than you are. They've just learned to act whether they feel like it or not. The mind has an amazing ability to talk you out of things that are actually good for you. It will give you excuses, rationalizations, and logical sounding reasons to avoid discomfort. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it when I have more time. I deserve to rest right now. And sure, rest has its place, but most of the time, these are just sophisticated lies that keep you from doing the hard thing. You must learn to interrupt this pattern. The moment you think, I should do this, you have a very small window, just a few seconds, before your brain convinces you not to do it. If you can act before those excuses arrive, you take control. This is why discipline is a choice. It's a conscious decision to move, to speak, to begin, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided that you will. Imagine a switch inside you that you flip the moment you notice hesitation. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't debate whether it's the right time. You just count down 3, 2, 1, and act. This simple act of choosing action over delay builds something more powerful than motivation. It builds self-trust. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when you didn't feel like it, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. That trust is the foundation of lasting discipline. It's important to understand that waiting for the right emotional state before taking action is backwards. Feelings are the result of action, not the other way around. When you force yourself to start, you often discover that the feelings you were waiting for show up after you begin. You don't feel like working out, but once you're 10 minutes in, you feel proud and energized. You don't feel like writing, but after a few sentences, you get into the flow. Action creates momentum, and momentum fuels motivation. This principle applies to every area of life: health, work, relationships, personal growth. The first step is almost always the hardest, because it requires you to override the comfort-seeking part of your brain. But once you take it, the next step is easier. And each time you do this, you strengthen the mental muscle that allows you to act on your decisions instead of your moods. Over time, you begin to notice that you rely less on willpower and more on habit. The choice to act becomes automatic. Choosing discipline over feelings also means choosing long-term results over short-term comfort. It's not about punishing yourself, it's about protecting your future. When you choose to study instead of scrolling your phone, you're choosing future opportunity. When you choose to save money instead of spending impulsively, you're choosing financial freedom. When you choose to exercise instead of skipping it, you're choosing health and energy for years to come. Discipline is not restrictive, it's freeing, because it allows you to create the life you actually want, instead of settling for whatever happens. Yes, there will be resistance. There will be mornings when you want to hit snooze, evenings when you want to quit, and moments when you feel completely unmotivated. That's normal. But those moments are also opportunities. Each time you act when you don't want to, you weaken the power of procrastination over your life. You prove to yourself that you are in charge, not your moods, not your laziness, not your fear. The truth is, you will never always feel like doing the right thing, and you don't have to. You just have to decide that your future is worth more than your excuse. Discipline begins when you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting, because you said you would. Once you understand this, you no longer sit around hoping for motivation. You create it by moving. When most people think about discipline, they imagine massive changes, big sacrifices, and radical transformations. They think of waking up at 4 a.m. every day, running 10 miles, working non-stop, and eating nothing but perfect meals. That picture is so intimidating that they give up before they even start. But the truth is, real discipline is not built through giant leaps. It's built through micro actions, small, repeatable decisions that you make every single day. These are the quiet, often invisible steps that compound over time and transform your life from the inside out. Micro actions matter because they are doable. They remove the weight of perfection and replace it with progress. If you tell yourself, "I must completely change my life overnight," your brain will resist. It will feel too big, too hard, and too uncomfortable. But if you tell yourself, "I will just start with 5 minutes today," you lower the barrier to entry. Suddenly, the action feels manageable. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to show up for 5 minutes. And what happens after those 5 minutes is magical. 5 minutes often turns into 10, 10 turns into 30, and before you know it, you have completed something you almost avoided entirely. This is why small actions are powerful. They bypass the mental resistance that keeps you stuck. The brain loves to avoid discomfort, and big goals feel uncomfortable because they demand too much change all at once. Micro actions let you sneak past that resistance. You take a step so small that your brain doesn't panic. And each time you take that step, you strengthen the identity of someone who shows up, someone who follows through, someone who does what they said they would do. Think of discipline like a muscle. You don't build strong muscles by going to the gym once a year and lifting a massive weight. You build them by showing up consistently and lifting manageable weights over and over. until your strength grows. The same is true for discipline. You don't become disciplined by doing one massive, heroic act of willpower. You become disciplined by doing hundreds of small, simple actions that slowly rewire your brain. Consider a person who struggles to wake up early. Instead of trying to wake up 2 hours earlier overnight, they could start by waking up just 5 minutes earlier each day. 5 minutes doesn't seem like much, but over a week, that's 35 minutes gained. Over a month, it's 2 hours. And most importantly, it feels achievable. Each small success builds confidence, and that confidence creates momentum. The beauty of micro-actions is that they build habits. A habit is nothing more than a behavior repeated enough times that it becomes automatic. At first, you may have to force yourself to do the small action. Write one sentence, read one page, go for a 5-minute walk. But after enough repetition, it becomes part of your routine. And once something is part of your routine, it no longer drains as much mental energy. That is how discipline becomes easier. Not because life gets less demanding, but because the behaviors that once felt hard now run on autopilot. Micro-actions also teach you that progress is not always visible in the moment. The first few days, you may not notice any change. The results are too small to see. But if you keep going, the effects compound. It's like planting a seed. At first, nothing seems to happen. Then slowly, roots form beneath the surface, where no one can see them. Eventually a tiny sprout appears, and if you keep watering and caring for it, that sprout becomes a tree. Discipline works the same way. Every small action is like a drop of water, feeding the roots of your future success. Another benefit of micro-actions is that they reduce the risk of burnout. When people try to change everything at once, they often crash because it's unsustainable. They work intensely for a short period, get exhausted, and give up entirely. But micro-actions allow you to stay consistent because they don't drain all your energy. You can do them even on bad days, even when you're tired, even when life feels chaotic. This is why they are so powerful. They are small enough to be done consistently, and consistency is the real secret to lasting discipline. One of the most overlooked truths about discipline is that it doesn't require you to do extraordinary things. It requires you to do ordinary things over and over, without giving up. Writing one page every day turns into a finished. Saving a small amount of money every week turns into financial security. Exercising for 10 minutes a day turns into a healthier, stronger body. The change feels slow while you're in it, but one day, you wake up and realize you are living in the results of all those tiny actions. Small actions also have a psychological benefit. They make you feel successful. Each time you complete one, you get a small hit of satisfaction. That feeling encourages you to do it again. This is how you create positive reinforcement. Your brain starts to associate discipline with reward, instead of punishment. In the end, building discipline through micro-actions is about building trust with yourself. Each small promise you keep tells your brain, I can rely on myself. Over time, you stop seeing yourself as someone who procrastinates or quits, and you start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That identity shift is the most powerful transformation of all, because once you believe you are disciplined, your actions will align with that belief. So stop waiting for the big dramatic moment to change everything. Start with one small action today. One that is so simple you can't talk yourself out of it. Repeat it tomorrow, and the next day. Before long, those tiny steps will add up to a life you're proud of. That is how massive discipline is built, one micro-action at a time. And that's the truth. Discipline is not about waiting for a magical wave of motivation to hit you. It's about choosing action over hesitation, and letting those small, consistent steps build unstoppable momentum in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is not, will I feel ready? The real question is, will I choose to act even when I don't?
Because every time you act, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You're either casting votes for procrastination, or for progress, for excuses, or for excellence. So the next time you hear that little voice telling you to wait, to delay, to put it off, take the smallest step you can, right there and then. Count down, move, begin, and watch how your actions transform your life, far more than waiting ever could. Discipline is built, not found, and you have everything you need to build it, starting now. Thank you.